The bitter super profit tax war between miners and the government might soon be over. Fortescue Metals chief Andrew Forrest says that he was close to a deal with former Prime Minister Kevin Rudd, and it's no secret that his successor Julia Gillard wants to resolve the issue before an imminent federal election. But as loud as the miners' protestations might be, tax issues are not even in the top 3 mining business risks on a global scale. An annual global report by accountants Ernst and Young has named capital allocation as the sector's top strategic risk in 2010. It's a major shift from the last year's chief concern of cost management. Here's finance correspondent Philip Lasker.
The resources super profits tax, a sovereign risk to miners, an election risk to the government. That's why Prime Minister Julia Gillard wants a quick resolution, but will it be the resolution Andrew Forrest wants? Despite his previous public attacks, the Fortescue Metals chief now sees Kevin Rudd as the good guy who was close to a deal.
He didn't actually want the Australian economy to contract because of a tax. He in fact wanted it to grow, so we were around a table late at night making sure that we could put up a discussion paper for all mining companies to say, hey, this is how the Australian economy and your industry can grow. What do you think? It was going to be done on a very open basis, and that just got wiped by the factional heads in the Labor Party.
So what's the status of this paper now? Has it been put to Julia Gillard? Or?
I have no idea. We were working with the Prime Minister and Treasury, so I believe Deputy Prime Minister Swan knows all about it.
Wayne Swan also knows all about a deal expected to be announced tomorrow involving special treatment for the coal seam gas industry, which is important for Queensland and the government's re-election chances. The industry won't be subject to the resources super profits tax regime. It'll be subject to the petroleum resources rent tax.
If something is done with the coal seam gas industry, which gets that industry up and going, I as an Australian would have to applaud.
But as a miner, Mr Forrest isn't applauding. He wants a more uniform approach. This debate is all part of what accountancy firm Ernst and Young calls resources nationalism, which isn't restricted to the tax war in Australia.
It's not just taxes or royalties, but we're also seeing in other places around the world the invoking of use it or lose it clauses under their licence arrangements or mandated government participation, were all ways in which the government's trying to increase its take on this particular sector.
Ernst and Young's latest report on business risks facing the mining sector puts resource nationalism as the number 4 concern, up from number 9 last year. Cost management was the number 1 strategic risk in 2009. Now it's in 3rd place. The pre-GFC skills shortage problems are starting to re-emerge, while capital allocation has shot up from 17 to the top spot because of the rapidly shifting global economic conditions.
The inputs to capital allocation decisions have been just so volatile in recent times that it's really made that very difficult. Commodity price, exchange rate, risk appetites of boards, the availability of capital, the switch from debt availability to being predominantly equity, and of course the taxation regimes which have been moving around the world as well.
At their management meetings and at the board level, it's very key that they need to be undergoing projects and strategy work going forward, return to shareholders, understanding the mix of the resource sector that they're investing in, what sort of commodities and where they're delivering that going forward. So it all makes a lot of sense. It's all about trying to find as much certainty as possible. You need capital. Capital is very finite, and you need return to shareholders.
And miners won't surrender any of that easily.